forward as if nothing had happened. "Liu Lazy, what are you doing?" At the side, the lady working at the vegetable stall suddenly called out to the middle-aged man who was walking hurriedly over here. Chapter 173, Iron Stick Yam. Please subscribe and vote for me, Tilda. What? The man nicknamed Liu Lazy paused, his face a little stiff, but he quickly returned to normal. He turned around and looked at the auntie selling vegetables in confusion. "What do you want me to do? I'm in a hurry to buy vegetables." Chen Jun got a good look at the man standing a few steps away. There were some hairless areas on his head which looked bumpy, as if he had leprosy in the past. He had small eyes and a reddish complexion. "Boy!" The vegetable seller actually walked out from behind the stall, grabbed the man and sneered. "Do you think I will let you go today? Are you crazy? Why did you arrest me?" Liu Lazy's eyes flashed with panic, but he immediately calmed down, because although he had made some moves just now, he did not succeed. "Let me go, I'm in a hurry to buy groceries." "Do you really think no one knows what you do in the market so crowded every morning?" The old lady grabbed him angrily and turned to look at Chen Jun, who was also furious. "Big sister, you saw what he was trying to do just now, right? Big sister, call the police." This Liu Lazy doesn't have a proper job, nor is he married. When he has no money, he just occupies a small space outside the vegetable market or in the aisle, setting up a stall to sell seafood and the like. When he has money, he drinks and spends money with his friends, but what makes him different from other scoundrels is he goes to bed early and gets up early every day. It's not that this guy is self-disciplined or anything, but he just gets up early in the morning and comes to this crowded vegetable market to take advantage of others. A few years ago, what this bastard did in this market was not very obvious. But as time went on, some young girls from poor families who came to the market early in the morning to do business, women living nearby, and even some older ladies were all taken advantage of by him. Sometimes, this guy would even bring a few of his friends with him and squeeze in the crowd very comfortably early in the morning. Because they acted very covertly, they would run away or slip away after just a slight bump in the crowded vegetable market. Many of the parties could not even see anyone when they turned their heads just as they reacted. Until now, most of the women who were violated by them did not even know that it was Liu Lazy and his gang. But if you do too many dirty things, you will eventually be discovered. Since this year, some vegetable vendors and shop owners have been able to accurately identify this group of people and have secretly installed surveillance cameras in front of their own stores, preparing to call the police to arrest them. But although these guys are all bastards, they are quite cunning and never cause trouble in places where surveillance cameras are installed. The united stall owners and shop owners in this corner of the vegetable market have never found an opportunity. However, this time, when Liu Lazy saw Chen Jun, a fairy-like woman, he came over regardless of anything because of his lust. "Call the police." Liu Lazy had failed to get what he wanted just now, and he felt regretful but also quite arrogant at the same time. He stared at Chen Jun and laughed. "What did I do to you? I didn't even touch you with a finger." As he spoke, the scoundrel looked the girl up and down unscrupulously and said frivolously, "Are you new here? I haven't seen you before." There was regret in his words, but at the same time his heart was more eager. "If I could just do this, it would be worth it even if I get caught." Chen Jun stared at him coldly and took out his cell phone on the spot. Just as he pressed 1, a hand suddenly reached out from the side and grabbed it. "Hey, why don't you just talk it over nicely? Why are you calling the police?" The girl stepped back again but saw several men appearing around her. Each of them had a tattoo on his body and looked quite old. They were all staring at her. "Tusk, tusk, tusk. Lao Lai, you are right. When did such a fairy appear in our land? Hey, let me introduce myself. My name is Lao Wang. The Lao Wang next door. What's your name?" As he spoke, the short but very strong man came over with a smile and stretched out his hand to Chen Jun. Seeing that she was looking at him coldly and didn't seem to want to shake hands with him, he just smiled and said, "Oh, don't call the police. I didn't touch you. Even if you really call the police, even if the surveillance is not good for him, he will only be detained for 10 days or a month. Look at you." The guy who called himself Lao Wang next door lowered his head slightly and saw Dowdu and Maya Mio through the veil on the stroller cover. With such a cute baby, it would have been bad if something unexpected happened when they went out for a stroll that day. Chen Jun held the phone in his hand, tapping on the screen with his fair fingers, and looked around. He saw that some of the stall owners and shop owners who had just gathered around were nowhere to be seen. The vegetable seller who had just grabbed Liu Lazy was blocked back into the stall by 2 or 3 men. She didn't know what she heard them say, but her face was pale and full of fear. She said very calmly, "Are you threatening me?" "I was just..." Suddenly, Lao Wang seemed to realize something and stared at her with a grim expression. You bitch, are you recording? Damn it. The bastard turned around and looked at the store that had installed surveillance cameras. Old 4, unplug the line. Pull it out and I'll mix up the stuff inside. A smirking voice came from the shop in the distance. It can't be completely restored. How are you going to repay me, Lao Lai? I'll give you my body, will you? Liu Lazy was laughing here. Bitch, are you going to give me the phone yourself, or are we going to get it from you? Chen Jun's face turned slightly pale, but he remained calm and said coldly, I have called the police. Fuck, guys, grab her phone for me. Whoosh. Several men nearby immediately gathered around with their eyes shining, but as soon as they approached, they saw darkness before their eyes. Bang, 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 bang. These guys fell backwards to the ground, with vegetable leaves hanging all over their foreheads. The bag of vegetables in Chen Jun's hand was smashed into pieces and fell all over the floor. Huh? She was a little stunned. She just subconsciously picked up the bag of vegetables and swung it around. Why did these people? So fragile, it's a bit fragile, too weak. The old man next door was stunned. This kind of force. Practice it. But he was at least an amateur 6th rank warrior. So he rushed forward with a sneer on his face and stretched out his hand. But just as he approached, the angel-like girl opposite him suddenly had a stick in her hand and smashed it hard on his forehead. Iron Stick Yam can remove cold and heat evil spirits, replenish chi and strength, grow muscles, and make ears and eyes smarter if taken for a long time. As the name suggests, this is a heavy and tough thing. Chapter 174, Fighting. Please subscribe and vote for me, Tilda. Well, Wu Jiantao has been buying this quite often in recent months to make soup. It is very good for the body, especially since Chen Jun practices tantric yoga. His physical fitness has been rising, and he is in great need of supplements. Speaking of which, bang, don't fight back, just attack. Although this guy is also a martial artist, his muscular body only looks scary, but the truth is that his body has long been hollowed out by alcohol and sex, and he is a bit old, so he was unable to avoid the stick, and his shiny forehead was hit hard. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, the sky is full of little stars. Pa, this guy fell straight to the street. Everyone nearby was stunned, looking at the gangsters lying on the ground in astonishment. At this moment, a younger-looking man came out of the grain and oil store that had been equipped with surveillance cameras. He looked over here and was about to say something when he froze. This. The guy reacted immediately and was about to slip away when the owner of the store grabbed him and sneered. Hey, where are you going? The little girl is so brave. If these grown men just stand by and watch, they might as well find a piece of tofu and kill themselves on the spot. On this side, Chen Jun stared blankly at her own fair and delicate hands. A few days ago, someone said that his strength was comparable to that of an amateur 2nd-grade warrior. I thought he was joking. Unexpectedly, it was actually true. She looked at the rogue lying on the ground with some fear. Well, it's not that I'm afraid of them, but I'm afraid of. I won't break them, will I? You might even get hit by a fake insurance. Even if you are right, if you beat someone up or leave them disabled. It's hard to say. Soon, the street manager of the vegetable market showed up, and then the police came. A policeman came forward and checked the people lying on the ground. He immediately realized that this level of injury was not simple, and immediately said to his colleagues, call an ambulance. At the same time, he looked at the street workers and some small business owners at the market with some reproach. Why didn't you call an ambulance? Where are the people who fought with them? Did they run away? Well, that's not the case. No. The policeman looked solemnly at the neighbor Lao Wang, who was lying on the ground with a slight twitch. When he heard the street worker's answer, he suddenly raised his head and looked at him in surprise. Have you caught the person who beat me? Where is he? As he spoke, his hand intentionally or unintentionally moved closer to the pistol at his waist, and he glanced around vigilantly. The opponent was most likely an amateur-level warrior. Although his destructive power and lethality were far inferior to that of a full-strength warrior, if the opponent had a weapon in his hand, the lethality would definitely be completely different. It's me, I'm here. Chen Jun raised his hand, but felt that he looked like a student who had done something wrong, so he waved at the hands of the 3 or 4 policemen. Police officers, they didn't have a problem with the girl's gesture of greeting them, but, is this a mistake? What's wrong with this girl? With her delicate and frail body, she doesn't look like she can take down 5 or 6 grown men by herself. What is going on? The oldest policeman frowned, came to Chen Jun and said in a deep voice, please take off your mask. How did you do that? The girl took off her mask, revealing her pure and clear face, her eyebrows, her temperament. Suddenly the whole scene was silent, and everyone looked over blankly. What a nice view. Isn't this so beautiful? Even the policeman who came over couldn't help but be stunned for a moment, and his tone, which was a little stiff just now, became much softer unconsciously. Several young policemen behind him kept looking at her. The middle-aged policeman looked at Chen Jun, adjusted the criminal recorder on his chest, and said in a deep voice, "Please tell me your name." Soon the whole story of the conflict was revealed. The stall owners and shop owners nearby came forward to testify that what Chen Jun said was true. They were also filled with righteous indignation and asked if this was the first time these bastards had done such a thing, but they had always been very covert in the past and had never been caught on the spot. The technical police officer from the street police station came over, went to the store where the surveillance camera was installed, looked at the computer, and immediately frowned. "I'll try to recover. I may not be able to recover much." "Well, whatever, it's enough to have witnesses." The middle-aged policeman looked stern. He turned to the team members around him and said, "Go around this market and find more victims. Arrange for identification." Yes, he was arranging work here, but saw the brave woman pushing a baby carriage and coming to him. "Officer, can I leave now? I still need to buy some vegetables." "Well, the bag of vegetables just now is all smashed, and I have to buy a new one. What a pity. After all this trouble, there are no fresh vegetables in the vegetable market now." Okay, you can go now. But we may need you to give some evidence later, Miss Chen, and my colleagues will come to your house then. Okay. Chen Jun nodded and put on his mask again. The brilliance that had amazed everyone at the scene suddenly dimmed a lot, and he turned around and left to continue buying groceries. Humming a song softly, she was very happy. After buying some groceries and returning home, she sent a WeChat message to her husband. "Honey, I just had a fight with someone." On the other side, in the gymnasium of M University, Wu Jiantao, who had just finished a standing practice course, was just finishing his get out of class. He picked up his phone and saw this WeChat message, and was stunned for a moment. "Dear husband, what? Where did you get into a fight?" "Jun, the vegetable market." Wu Jiantao frowned slightly and continued to send WeChat messages. "Farm market. Don't we have some in the fridge at home? I can buy some when I get back this afternoon. Why did you go out all the way to buy groceries?" "Jun, we're out of iron stick yams, and we only have pork at home, which is not enough for the two of us. I just bought some steak and beef." "Dear husband, oh, did you buy it from the beef stand I told you about?" "Jun, wait a minute, don't you care if your wife has been beaten up?" Japanese letter, Japanese letter, Japanese letter, Ren's angry. "Dear husband, stop it. Did you hurt the other person?" "Jun, Sigma, degrees, you know all this." "Dear husband, I know how much your physical fitness and arm strength have improved. You have at least amateur-level strength. Ordinary people can't bear it. Is the ambulance here? How is the other party? Do you want compensation?" "Jun and GT, Chinese letter and LT. I say he looks quite strong. How could he be so fragile? No compensation is required. It's just that there is one more serious one. Dear husband, how else do you think I can rest assured that you are alone at home or even go out? Oh, by the way, how serious is more serious?" "Jun, the doctor on the scene said that it was at least a moderate concussion and the skull was fractured." Degrees, let's do it again. Chapter 175, Shock M, Big Please, Subscribe and Monthly Ticket. Chapter 175, Shock M, Big Please, Subscribe and Monthly Ticket. "Dear husband, my bones are all broken." "Good job." Japanese letter flipping the table and laughing. "Jun, you're still laughing. When I left, a vegetable vendor told me that they were just a bunch of hooligans and rogues, and our families might come and blackmail us." "Dear husband, hey, let me lend them some courage. What exactly is going on?" Jun, voice message. Is a long story, so she just sent a voice message directly. Court deaths. Although it was not revealed on WeChat, Wu Jiantao's face suddenly turned gloomy after hearing the voice message, and a terrible murderous aura emanated from his body. The martial arts department juniors who had just finished their classes and were standing not far away were all scared to death. They originally wanted to come over and say hello to this legendary senior. His aura was so strong that the instructor in the next room immediately jumped up and rushed over. But he only saw the young assistant standing there with a cold face, and then he was completely stunned. This momentum. This young mentor, who looked to be under 40 and had great potential, was filled with doubts. He looked at the young man who was more than a decade younger than him, and then, no matter how you look at it, it's the aura of a star warrior. This is not right. Although his martial arts level is not high, he still has good eyesight. As an instructor in the martial arts department, he felt a little unwell. Yes, he was only a whole-force martial artist, but he had participated in international martial arts competitions and was close to the top 8. Among whole-force martial artists, he was an elite among elites and had hope of breaking through to the whole force level before the age of 40. Assistant Teacher Wu, you have entered the circle now. The young mentor came over and asked tentatively. Wu Jiangtao didn't look at his phone again. Instead, he looked up and nodded to himself and responded. Hiss! The young man took a deep breath, and his heart, which had originally held a glimmer of hope, was now filled with horror. If he remembered correctly, the young man in front of him had just graduated, which meant that he was at most 25 or 26 years old. When did you make the breakthrough? Why didn't you tell the department leaders? The tutor smiled bitterly and looked at Wu Jiangtao with envy and awe. I just broke through not long ago, and my cultivation has just stabilized. I was planning to tell the dean after class. Wu Jiangtao said calmly. If I remember correctly, guess 24. Oh my God! You've shortened the minimum age record for entering the circle by a full 10 years. The young instructor smiled bitterly and shook his head. Then you should go and tell me earlier. You should be the one to lead the next class. No, after all, I am only an assistant teacher now, and you are the instructor. I cannot usurp the throne. Wu Jiangtao quickly refused. No, I don't have the nerve to teach you in front of you. Things had come to this point, and Wu Jiangtao had no choice but to agree. The class didn't start so quickly, so he turned around and walked to the square outside the gymnasium. When there was no one around him, he picked up his cell phone and called the street police station where they were. Hello, how can I help you? Hello, I am a reserve police officer of the F-City Security Bureau. My police number is... I need to know about a case that just happened on your street. The reserve force refers to warriors who are registered with the Security Bureau, but not directly under it. The person on the other end of the phone checked the police number Wu Jiangtao had just mentioned and quickly replied. Okay, I need to use your voice print to confirm your identity ID again. Is that okay? Okay. Please wait. Identification confirmed. Welcome, Officer Wu. Could you please tell me specifically which case this is? What? After learning about the specific circumstances of the punishment given to these grandsons, Wu Jiangtao hung up the phone and narrowed his eyes. A hint of murderous intent flashed across his eyes, and he sent a WeChat message to his wife. I get off work at 11 o'clock. I'll go back and make you steak later. Fairy wife, it's a pity that we didn't buy filet and sirloin. Only tenderloin is left, but it looks pretty fresh. Yang, it's okay. I'll make you steak when I get back. The tender shoulder is also very good, and it tastes great whether it's thick or thin. In addition to steak, it can also be used to make hot pot slices or roast or stir-fry meat. The middle part has the most oil, and if it's well prepared, the taste won't even be inferior to rib-eye. Trust me. Fairy wife, what brother? I am 3 years older than you. You should call me sister. Jiang, just wait. There will be a time when you will call me brother. Chen Jun at home was stunned for a moment, feeling that something was wrong. He tapped the screen with his fingers to take a screenshot and forwarded it to... Well, if he didn't send it to Li Xiaoshan, she would definitely laugh at him. He should send it to Bai Xiaoyuan. Forget it, it's better not to send such private chat records randomly. She opened the browser and typed it in 1,000 times. After a few minutes, her face gradually turned red, and she picked up her phone angrily and sent a WeChat message to someone. You big pervert, you filthy rascal. I won't call you brother. Who knows who will be the one to call who then? Sitting in the living room, she waited with a blushing face, but someone didn't reply to her. Oh, he should be in class at this moment, and his phone has turned off the sound and vibration, so he didn't see her WeChat message. Snort. What? In the dojo of the martial arts department of M University. Actually, you shouldn't focus too much on so-called fighting skills or moves right now. The students on the field all looked at the excessively young man in front of them with awe. Well, the conversation between the instructor and Wu Jiangtao during the break just now did not avoid the students. They all knew that this young man, who was only a few years older than them, was already a star master. And we should focus more on the foundation building aspect. Just like what I said in this class, we must practice stillness, standing still, and so on to the fullest. Otherwise, the so-called moves and techniques will ultimately be castles in the air. Okay, today's class ends here. Get out of class dismissed. After saying this, Wu Jiangtao waved his hand for the last time. Well. The entire hall of the venue suddenly became noisy. When many students were about to come over to ask Wu Jiangtao for advice, they saw a middle-aged man with extraordinary demeanor coming in from the door. The students stopped in their tracks. Isn't this the department head? What is he doing? Assistant Instructor Wu, please come with me. Yi Wanheng, director of the martial arts department, bowed very solemnly. Good. There is no doubt that with Wu Jiangtao's current martial arts realm, a mere position of a martial arts assistant is not suitable for him, and he is not even qualified to be a mentor. Well, in fact, professional-level warriors, after achieving good results in large-scale domestic and international competitions, are eligible to participate in the election for the instructor of the martial arts department of M University. My computer broke down this morning. The second update will be available in the evening. Oh, the Redmi laptop is so lame. I plan to buy a Huawei one. Does any book friend have any recommendations? Chapter 176, Parents' Heart, please subscribe and vote for the monthly ticket tilde. Martial arts, of course, not only look at past achievements but also look at actual ability. As for whether they can teach, it doesn't matter. We also have teaching assistants with rich teaching experience. With the assistance of such experts, we can teach our students well. And now, Wu Jiantao suddenly displayed the martial arts realm of the whole force into a circle, which shocked the martial arts department and even M University at once. This is an unparalleled genius. The 24-year-old star warrior broke the record for the lowest age to enter the circle of whole energy in the past 100 years, which was 10 years shorter. Arriving at the office area upstairs in the gymnasium, Department Head Yi Wanhong realized that Wu Jiantao had not yet had time to register with the Security Bureau. But it doesn't matter. Strength is the seal. Even though they haven't got it yet, for fear that this extremely talented and proud son of the emperor would run away, the Martial Arts Department of M University decisively signed a contract with him on the spot. They only have to wait for registration and certification from the F-City Security Bureau. After obtaining the official star certification, he can enjoy the treatment of an associate professor at M University. If he is willing to represent M University in top domestic and international martial arts competitions, his salary will go up, and he will enjoy the treatment of a full professor. At the same time, he will also receive various bonuses. Thinking of this, Wu Jiantao was also eager to try. To be honest, his martial arts path was very different from that of ordinary martial artists. Although he had also been training since he was a child, he made rapid progress after the system changed his physical foundation. He had not experienced the baptism of a very orthodox professional arena, but he had experienced the fight between life and death. From this point of view, he will definitely not be too bad in the professional arena. He will definitely become stronger after adapting to a few games. Well, this is natural. After all, fighting for life and death is more important than the baptism of the professional arena. Even though he hadn't experienced many fights, the so-called battles were not games. Every battle would accumulate experience and level up. A battle between life and death, no matter how many times you play in the professional arena, it will never be comparable to this. Martial arts is so unreasonable. Whether it is progress or fighting, if you reach the goal, you reach the goal. If you don't reach the goal, you don't reach the goal. To some extent, it is a bit like mathematics, the most hardcore subject in the scientific world and the cornerstone of all scientific subjects. It requires only 1% of talent and understanding. Chen Jun, who was practicing yoga in the living room, keenly heard the footsteps outside the door. She immediately stopped practicing, got up from the cushion on the ground, and went to meet the person. "I'm back." As soon as I opened the door, a face with a charming smile appeared in front of me, and a fragrant breeze blew in my face, filling me with warmth. "Well, how is it? Can you bring Daodu and Mio here by yourself in the morning?" Of course. Chen Jun was still leaning in her husband's arms. The empty feeling she had felt all morning disappeared at this moment, leaving only a full sense of happiness and security. "What's the matter?" Wu Jiantao felt that something seemed wrong with the lovely girl in his arms. "It's okay, I just missed you a little bit." In fact, the girl was a little scared because of the inexplicable conflict she had just had with someone in the vegetable market. What if I don't practice tantric yoga? If it weren't for her husband's daily guidance over the past 2 months, which helped her transform herself, she might have suffered a loss in this conflict. At the critical moment, although her husband was not present, he was like the pillar of her life and gave her the ability to fight back on the spot. "You were scared by what happened at the market just now, right?" Wu Jiantao reacted immediately, hugged her lovingly, and patted her relaxed back. "It's okay, I'm back." In fact, even if there was no secret yoga reward from the system, when Chen Jun's body had almost recovered, he would teach her some basic standing exercises and anti-wolf punches and kicks. Keeping fit is only the most basic thing. She also needs to have a certain ability to protect herself. After all, she is the daughter-in-law of the Wu family's Xinyaquan. It would not do if she knows nothing about it. The secret yoga with system rewards is the most suitable. This secret practice method has a long history and is not inferior to internal martial arts. It is also quite unique in strengthening the body. Even Wu Jiantao has learned from it and integrated it with his family martial arts to create many new standing exercises with the characteristics of this method. Well, these heart stack skills were developed by him and his eldest cousin through research and discussion. One person's shortcomings make the other two's strength stronger. Besides, Yuan Huang is a senior star master after all, and his vision and accumulation are much deeper than his. When Wu Jiantao went to the kitchen to start making steak and vegetable and fruit salad for lunch, Mr. Mo finally arrived. Her arrival added a lot of liveliness to the lunch, and the family sat together happily eating a very delicious and sumptuous steak dinner. What, you are a star warrior now? After dinner, as soon as the family sat down, Chen Jun happily shared with Mr. Mo that her husband's martial arts had broken through to the star level. For a moment, Mr. Mo looked a little surprised, because Fei Yun Group is also the brand sponsor of several top martial arts competitions at home and abroad. For example, the world-renowned World #1 martial arts competition, the Fei Yun Group she leads has been the title sponsor for 3 consecutive sessions. Therefore, Mo Wan is very familiar with some situations of martial arts fighters, and naturally knows what a star fighter means. Before this, the lowest age record for warriors entering the star level was 34 years old. It's unbelievable. I remember you were 3 years younger than Xiaojun, so you're only 24 now, right? President Mo looked Wu Jiantao up and down, but unfortunately with her vision, she couldn't see any difference between this future son-in-law and her previous ones. Wu Jiantao nodded very humbly. Amazing. Aunt Yu and Xiaojun, please sit down for a while. I'll go to the kitchen to wash the dishes first. Let me do it. You worked so hard making lunch just now. Chen Jun quickly got up and forced him onto the sofa, looking at him with a reproachful expression. Okay, you can't always be the one doing all the housework. I'm not a spoiled child. You can chat with my mom for a while. After his daughter left, Mr. Mo looked at Wu Jiantao cautiously and asked in a low voice, Xiaotao, I was supposed to arrive earlier this morning, but the plane was delayed, so I didn't arrive until just now. Xiaojun took care of Daodu and Miao by herself this morning. Is there any problem? President Mo knew that today was Wu Jiantao's first day at work, so she came back from Kyoto specially. She should have arrived at around 8 or 9 in the morning, but unfortunately the plane was delayed and there was some traffic congestion on the road today, so she didn't arrive on time and couldn't help her daughter. For this reason, she had actually been somewhat worried that her daughter would be angry with her. But her daughter had been fine from the time they had dinner until now, which made her feel a little uneasy and very uncomfortable. Forehead. Seeing this strong woman who was so decisive and resolute in front of others, lowering her voice for fear that her daughter would hear her talking, I felt a little amused and sad at the same time. Poor parents in the world. Chapter 177. Come to ask for subscription and monthly ticket, Tilda. Aunt, don't worry. Xiaojun can handle a lot of things now. The 2 babies were very well behaved this morning and nothing unexpected happened. Wu Jiantao comforted her. Call. Mr. Mo breathed a sigh of relief, but looking at this young and extraordinary martial arts genius in front of him, he couldn't help but feel a little worried. Well, with such an outstanding future son-in-law, she couldn't help but feel a little worried, although she was quite confident in her daughter's charm and the relationship between her daughter and him. But after more than 20 years of development, the martial arts world in China is now a place for power, interests, beauty and fame and fortune. It is foreseeable that such an outstanding boy like Wu Jiantao will definitely face various temptations in the future. She has seen too many things like this. There is no way, being a parent is so entangled. The son-in-law is too ordinary and mediocre. But if he is too outstanding, the mother-in-law can't control him at all. Hey, daughter, you really know how to cause trouble for your mother. While speaking, Mr. Mo subtly tested Wu Jiantao. He could clearly feel the boy's clear and stable mind. Unconsciously, he was also infected and couldn't help but relax. However, as a female business legend, she quickly reacted and realized that she was actually infected by Wu Jiantao's spiritual aura. Her heart was suddenly shaken, and then she realized. Yes, Xiao Wu is now a star master who has achieved the state of whole energy and harmony of body and mind. His strong mind and firm will are far beyond the reach of ordinary people. Compared with those so-called young and handsome men in the business world, no matter how great the temptations in the future are, he will be able to sit still and remain calm, right? Thinking of this, the mother felt at ease, and finally could sit down and chat with Wu Jiantao at ease. Meanwhile, her future son-in-law also clearly felt the change in atmosphere. Well, he felt more relaxed talking to his future mother-in-law, without the awkwardness that had always existed before. He couldn't figure out the source of this feeling. Although it was a little confusing, he felt much more relaxed. Soon, Chen Jun finished washing the dishes. As soon as she sat down in the living room, Wu Jiantao gently pulled her hand over and rubbed the girl's soft and delicate palm. Let's buy a dishwasher. Both your time and my time are precious. If these household chores can be replaced by machines in the future, then use them. Otherwise, your hands will easily become rough in the future. Well, okay. Chen Jun thought about it seriously and nodded. People with clear minds can always keenly perceive some subtle changes in interpersonal relationships, such as a look, the tone, and words of a sentence. Every change, no matter how subtle, can be traced. Just like this time, as soon as the girl sat down, she keenly realized that her mother's attitude towards her husband was completely different from the past. No, it's not because he was once a star master. It wasn't like that just now. Chen Jun looked at her mother with some doubt. At this moment, a slightly hurried doorbell rang from the direction of the door. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. The other party seemed very impatient and pressed the doorbell of their house very quickly. Wu Jiantao's heart moved slightly, his eyes narrowed slightly, and he stretched out his hand and gently placed it on his wife who had just woken up and went to open the door. I'll go open the door. If he was right, trouble was coming. Sure enough, as soon as Wu Jiantao walked through the entrance and opened the door, a very loud wailing sound immediately rushed towards him. Where's that little bitch who seduced my husband? Where's that bitch who got my husband detained? Come out now. Several people were standing at the door. One of them was a fat, middle-aged woman who looked to be in her 40s. She rushed over and tried to squeeze Wu Jiantao out of the way to break into their house. While rushing in, she was shouting and swearing at them with some very dirty words. This is cursing. Even with Wu Jiantao's current temperament, his heart sank after hearing this. An extremely cold light flashed across his cold face and eyes. If he just stood in front of the gate and refused to give way, this ordinary lady would not be able to squeeze past him and rush in to cause trouble. But at this moment, Wu Jiantao deliberately moved aside slightly. The middle-aged woman and several other people rushed in yelling. However, as soon as these people broke in, he, who had a legitimate reason to attack, showed a sneer on his face and stretched out his hand in an instant. He clenched his right hand and grabbed the back of the neck of the cursing old lady. The old lady only felt a tightening at the back of her neck, and then her feet suddenly became empty, as if she was not stepping on solid ground, and the whole person flew up into the air. Boom! This woman, who weighed at least 250 to 260 kilograms, flew a full 10-foot distance in the air and slammed heavily into the opposite wall. The violent impact made people feel that the entire building was shaking. You dare to hit someone? The other aunties didn't seem to understand what was going on. They showed their claws and rushed over to scratch Wu Jiantao. If we don't scratch you, your face will be covered with red. Bang! Bang! Ping pong! Wu Jiantao suppressed the urge to kill them, and with just a little effort, he fiddled with them a few times, and they all fell to the ground one by one. Why are you hitting people? One of the aunts finally realized that the other party was not simple. It seemed that, no, the other party was a warrior. What are you and your gang doing? Breaking into a warrior's house. Well, the sentence just now, how dare you hit people, was also said by her. The contrast with the current sentence, how can you hit people, has a sense of absurd and realistic comedy. You're finished, you're finished, you're finished. How dare you hit me? Another middle-aged woman was lying on the ground and acting like a scoundrel, not realizing who the other person was. Well, each of them was hit and stumbled out of the door, but they all fell to the ground as if their bones were broken. Get up quickly. The auntie who realized that Wu Jiantao was not a simple person stood up quickly and hurriedly pulled the sisters around her. The auntie who was planning to scam Wu Jiantao didn't want to move at all. She just wanted to continue lying there and scam Wu Jiantao. Anyway, her man is in prison because the other party is in prison, and it will take at least 10 days or half a month for him to be released. If the other party insists on suing her man, I'm afraid it will take several months for him to be released. In that case, it would be better to scam the other party and get the money. Wake up, he is a warrior. Hearing her companion's words, the fraudulent old lady looked up in astonishment, only to see the young man standing with his head raised, his cold and indifferent eyes sweeping over her. She was so frightened that she quickly got up from the ground. Chapter 178, Sensation. Please subscribe and vote tilde. The group of ants stood up and first came to the back, and with great effort helped the companion who had fallen the worst from the ground. Although it was scary how she flew out and hit the wall just now, Wu Jiantao was still very restrained in his actions. The blow just now only shook her muscles and bones, and at most she would feel pain and weakness all over her body, and it would not be a big deal. You ask your wife to come out. We are here to reason with her. The group of middle-aged women shouted at Wu Jiantao in a timid manner. Make sense. Wu Jiantao didn't say anything to the other party and just took out his cell phone. It's a long story, but it actually happened in just a few seconds. At this time, Chen Jun, Mr. Mo, and assistant Zyro Huan also came over. What happened? Wu Jiantao looked back at them, dialed 110, and said calmly, "It's okay. They are trying to break into a private house. I'll call the police first." "Hello, I'm a reserve police officer in the Security Bureau. Someone broke into my house." Security Bureau. Reserve Police. Upon hearing these words, the ants looked at each other, and a bad feeling arose in their hearts. In less than 5 minutes, the police from the street police station arrived at the scene. After understanding the whole incident and retrieving the surveillance video in the corridor, they took away everyone at the scene. Even though Wu Jiantao was clearly the victim, this incident was related to another case, and most importantly, he was a professional warrior. Therefore, the police station cannot handle this matter as an ordinary civil dispute and must be extremely cautious. At the police station, they carefully studied the conflict between the two parties, linked it to a previous case, and added the irrefutable evidence in the surveillance video. As a warrior, Wu Jiantao's actions in this conflict were reasonable and legal self-defense, but it was these ants who got into trouble. Provoking, insulting, and scolding ordinary people constitutes provoking trouble, which is different from doing it to warriors. There is no doubt that the punishment for the latter is more severe than that for the former, because no matter what the consequences of the latter are, it will cause a very bad impact. Although there are not many warriors, they are undoubtedly the upper middle class group in the current society, while most ordinary people are at the bottom of society. The mentality of hating the rich and powerful is a common mentality among many frustrated people at the bottom of society. Once such things are magnified and even form a storm of public opinion on the internet, it is easy to cause opposition and conflict between the two sides. So these aunties who happily received a pair of silver bracelets will face prosecution by the procuratorate in the future. Well, compared to what happened to their men in the vegetable market this morning, they are much more tough. If nothing unexpected happens, they will face at least 6 months of detention. If you seek benevolence, you will get benevolence. If you seek a hammer, you will get a hammer. In the afternoon, Wu Jiantao had no classes, so he took advantage of the lunch break of the two babies and Chen Jun to go to the Municipal Security Bureau and get the official certification of a star-level warrior. For a time, southeastern China and even the entire domestic martial arts community were shaken. 24 years old. The whole strength enters the circle. All of a sudden, the record for the youngest age of a person who had achieved the state of full strength and entered the circle in the past 100 years of modern China was lowered by a full 10 years. Although we often see on Weibo and WeChat public accounts that hundreds or even thousands of years ago, there were geniuses in ancient Chinese martial arts schools who had achieved the state of full strength and entered the circle before the age of 20. The past is only the past, and many people do not take the glory of their ancestors to heart. Wu Jiantao, which sect in our country is he? Is he a disciple of Shushenjai, or a true disciple of Nanyu Tianyi sect? Neither. He seems to be the successor of a very inconspicuous internal martial arts school in Q City in the south. I found him. He is the successor of the branch of Xiniateng in the south. Xiniateng? I've never heard of it. When did such a genius emerge? 24 years old. It's hard to imagine. Will he appear in the first Chinese martial arts A-level league next? In recent years, the major domestic martial arts title competitions have been relatively peaceful, and there have been no young masters. I'm inexplicably looking forward to it. For a time, all the major sects in the Chinese martial arts world paid attention to this little-known sect. Not to mention them, even the current head of Xiniateng immediately called his junior brother, who was far away in Q City. Wu Zhaniang, who was cultivating at home and was determined to break through to the grandmaster level, was stunned when he heard his senior brother's call. Next to her, after learning about this, Wu's mother immediately picked up the phone and called her son directly. After 2 or 3 days of turmoil, Wu Jiantao's life gradually calmed down, and he also received invitations from domestic martial arts first-class league teams. Among them was an invitation from my cousin's Tiger Roar team. Well, the Tiger Roar team is not just a criminal police team. It also represents the top combat power of the first-tier armed police force in Province M. It is also a frequent visitor to major domestic and international martial arts leagues. This year, in order to counter the impact of top international professional martial arts competitions on domestic martial arts competitions, the Chinese Martial Arts Association finally took action and launched the first domestic martial arts league. Well, it was created based on the top Western martial arts professional competitions, and it is an unlimited martial arts competition. You have to sign a contract before participating. Of course, the contract is not a life and death agreement like in the old days. If someone gets injured during the game, or can't stop fighting and kills someone, or is beaten to death, there will be corresponding insurance compensation. In launching this league, the Chinese Martial Arts Association was under tremendous pressure. Fortunately, when it was announced this spring, the response from the entire society was very positive. Although the entire league has not officially started yet and is still in the pre-season warm-up stage of the domestically divided competition areas, every game is packed, and the ratings of the live TV broadcasts are rising steadily. Regardless of how much impact this event has had abroad, it has become completely popular in China. In addition to the invitation from the Tiger Roar team, there is also the Feilong A-Class League team formed by the Feiyun Group led by President Mo. The league is divided into Class A, Class B, and Class C among them. The Class C League covers all large and small competitions in various regions and provinces in the country at this stage. This type of competition has the lowest threshold, and even amateur warriors can sign up to participate. If there are enough participants in this type of competition, the league officials will rank them according to the performance points. The top 4 Class C teams can be promoted to the provincial and district Class B League competitions. By analogy, the same applies to Class A. Since the league was just held this year, the certification qualification for an A-level team is that there is at least one star warrior in the team. By the way, there is an age limit for warriors in the level league, and the maximum age cannot be higher than 50. Chapter 179. Choose to subscribe and ask for monthly tickets tilde. Similarly, warriors participating in the individual competition of the Chinese Martial Arts Class A League must at least be officially recognized star warriors to be eligible to participate. As for those star warriors in China who have not been officially certified or are from foreign countries, they are not eligible to participate unless they are specially invited by the organizers of the event. However, the most interesting thing is that the Chinese Martial Arts League A officials also revealed that the top 8 teams in the A League will be linked with top international competitions of the same form, such as the World No. 1 Martial Arts Competition, the East Asian Martial Arts Throne Competition, and the World Martial Arts Open, etc. Well, the first Chinese Martial Arts A-level league has been confirmed. The team competition will be linked with the Nongshim Ramen Cup Martial Arts Grand Prix, founded by Dahan Kingdom, and the individual competition will be linked with the world's No. 1 martial arts competition. Which team are you planning to join? After knowing this, one night 2 days later, Chen Jun finally couldn't help but ask. Huh. Wu Jiantao chuckled twice and looked at his wife in front of him with a bit of sarcasm. Do you want me to join the Kyoto Feiyun A-Class team or my cousin's Tiger Roar team? Well, the former is naturally the martial arts team recently formed by Feiyun Group. It is a multinational group and the future mother-in-law. The contract benefits and various bonuses offered are quite generous. The latter is my cousin's Tiger Roar team. Although the benefits and bonuses cannot be compared with those of the Kaienzi, it is affiliated with the Security Bureau system and is a semi-official A-level league team. Joining it will be equivalent to having an official organization. Whether in the ancient times or now, the martial arts world still has the concept of practicing in the 6 gates. The difference is that in the past, people in the martial arts world would scold such warriors as running dogs of the court. But now, to join them is to be a great martial artist, serving the country and the people. It's up to you. Chen Jun rolled his eyes at him in reproach. This choice is very important to your martial arts. Don't choose my mother's team just because of me. In fact, Wu Jiantao already had the idea of joining the level team of the Martial Arts League. He asked Chen Jun to find out if she had any ideas. Of course, it would be best if she didn't. I plan to join the Tiger Roar team. That's great. You don't have to leave home and go to Kyoto anymore. It's really tiring to go back and forth so far. Chen Jun breathed a sigh of relief and looked at her husband with a sweet smile. In fact, I also prefer you to join our local Tiger Roar team in Province M. If you join Tiger Roar, it will be very close to home. In this way, we don't have to be separated. Yes, I think so too. After all, we just got married, and I don't want to be separated from you at this time. Wu Jiantao smiled and gently embraced Chen Jun in his arms. The martial arts advancement into the whole power and circle did not seem to bring any changes to their small family. Instead, he spent more time at home. Well, now as an associate professor in the martial arts department of M University, he is not responsible for the specific teaching, but has become a professor in the department who specializes in coaching talented talents to break through the whole strength. Currently, there are only about 10 students in the entire department who have demonstrated enough talent and martial arts prowess and achieved enough results to be recognized as genius seeds. Wu Jiantao is only responsible for their teaching in the martial arts department of M University. He gathers all the talented seeds every week to check their progress in martial arts and their body and mind. Every student can only consult him at this time about the confusion and problems they encounter in martial arts, and he cannot be disturbed on weekdays. Of course, there is one exception. That is when the seed students encounter a bottleneck in breaking through the strength and entering the whole strength. At this time, they can ask their teacher for guidance anytime and anywhere to guide them to break through the bottleneck and enter the whole strength. In this way, Wu Jiantao's work at M University was very easy. As for the family background, qualifications, comprehension, and other information and personal files of these 10 genius seeds, the assistant professors would naturally organize them for him, so he didn't need to worry about them. On the other hand, after Wu Jiantao joined the Tiger Roar team, in addition to the Chinese martial arts, a level league which will begin in October, the team's seminars and discussions are held every 3 days. Relatively speaking, he does not need to report to the security department from 9 to 5 every day like ordinary office workers. Of course, this does not mean that he is fine. Compared to the past, after entering the circle of professional martial arts competitions, when there are more competitions in the future, he will need to travel far away from time to participate in competitions. Fortunately, the Chinese Martial Arts League A, whether it is a team competition or an individual competition, will be linked to the top domestic and international martial arts competitions in the future. In other words, participating in the A-League is equivalent to participating in other top martial arts competitions. League linkage with the top domestic and international competitions. This is the significance of the Chinese A-level league. It can be seen that the Chinese Martial Arts Association is very determined this time, persuading all martial arts sects to join, and even allowing the national security bureaus to form teams individually or jointly to participate in the competition. A Class A League team jointly formed by Q City, F City, and the Southern Coastal City X. After all, City X and City F also have their own special police teams. Why should they rely on your City Q's security team? The 3 teams of the 3 city garrisons competed with each other. And finally, Yuan Huang defeated the captains of the other 2 teams and won the naming rights of the M Province Garrison's team, participating in the level league for the next 3 years. Compared with Q City, F City, as the martial arts training base of the provincial capital security department, is more advanced and complete. Therefore, the training base of this special league team is set up in F City instead of Q City. The reason why Yuan Huang has been working in F City instead of Q City in the past 6 months is because the M Provincial Security Headquarters has coordinated the martial arts forces of the security offices in various cities and counties in the province to form a team to participate in the level league. Just like before, when the Shadow Brigade from the chaotic zone of the southern continent arrived, the guard teams of City F and City Q reacted so quickly and launched a joint operation for this reason. By the way, Wu Jiantao, who joined the M Province Tiger Roar level league team, has some special features in terms of organization. Well, from the name we can tell that he is neither affiliated with the Tiger Roar team of the Q City Security Department, nor with the Long Yun team of the F City Security Department, and naturally not with the Tian Gang team of the X City Security Department, but with the M Province Security Headquarters. In addition, the security headquarters of other provinces in China have also formed martial arts teams to participate in the Martial Arts First Class League. At this time, there is no movement from the martial arts sects in the north and south of the country. From this point, we can see the special nature of the Chinese Martial Arts First Class League, led by the Domestic Martial Arts Association this time. Martial arts is still only a subordinate position. The subsequent description of the protagonist participating in the martial arts competition and competing with others will not be emphasized. These will be glossed over, and the focus will be on the description of his daily life at home. I'm a little stuck. The second update will be updated in the afternoon tilde. Chapter 180. Gold and Jade, please subscribe and vote for the monthly ticket tilde. Compared with his previous job as an assistant teacher in the martial arts department of M University, Wu Jiantao will spend more time at home in the future. That's right, even though he is now an associate professor at the martial arts department of M University, needing to teach a dozen talented seeds, and is also one of the 3 generals of the Tiger Roar team of the M Province Security, headquarters a level league. The content of both jobs is quite flexible. The former tests and instructs students once a week. The most important thing is to guide students to break through the key bottleneck of strength into wholeness. In the entire M University Martial Arts Department, none of the instructors who are only at the whole strength level dare to say that they are more competent than Wu Jiantao for such work. As for the latter, they also hold discussions and seminars once a week. Wu Jiantao heard from his cousin Yuan Huang that due to the busy work of the security department, the seminars are usually scheduled on Saturdays and Sundays and last only about half a day. As for the format of the research, of course, it is not as simple as a simple competition or a fight, but it uses the very creative and diverse methods of the National Guard team, with an emphasis on actual combat. So apart from being a warrior, your main job now is actually being a house husband, and everything else is just a part-time job. In the evening of that day, Li Xiaoshan, who rarely came to eat at the 903 restaurant, looked at Wu Jiantao with envy. I also want this kind of life where I can stay at home often. Believe me, he is no easier than you. Yu Wenwang shook his head and said, Xiao Tao is now the 3rd general of our league team. He can no longer hone his martial arts skills as casually as he did in the past. He must set higher standards for himself. During the National Day, the opening matches of the 5 major competition areas across the country will all begin. Once there are competitions, it will be relatively busy. Once you step onto the field, whether you win or lose, news reports, stimulation from opponents, and evaluations from the martial arts community, all kinds of pressure will come pouring in. That's when a martial artist's character will be truly tested. Hearing this, Chen Jun couldn't help but glance at her husband, but saw that he looked calm, as if he wasn't worried at all about the pressure that her cousin mentioned. However, what Yuan Huang said was true. Although he had never participated in professional martial arts competitions at home or abroad, a senior master from the Wu Family Martial Arts School had participated in it and achieved very good results. However, there were too many commercial operations afterwards, and even entertainment industry packaging was required. The uncle master of the Wu Family Martial Arts School was extremely uncomfortable with this, and eventually withdrew from the professional competition circle and went to the southern continent. Well, the uncle you are talking about is Yuan Long. Now our Domestic Martial Arts Association defines the first-class league as a sports event. It allows certain commercial operations, but prohibits excessive capital involvement and operation. It has given very specific regulations in many aspects. In the future, there will be some changes in our domestic professional martial arts competition circle. Yuan Huang talked about the latest changes in the professional martial arts competition circle. This is the beginning of our domestic martial arts community's involvement in the professional competition circle. Someone above has spoken, saying that our domestic martial arts community should exert its due energy and strength to allow Chinese martial arts to go abroad and have a matching influence internationally, instead of only thinking of Bruce Lee when talking about Chinese martial arts. Oh, that's it. Wu Jiantao nodded, so that's it. By the way, where did you get that secret yoga book? Yuan Huang suddenly changed the subject and asked about this secret practice method. Well, I accidentally found it in a very old bookstore on Zhongshan Pedestrian Street. Wu Jiantao said calmly, I saw it when Chen Jun and I were shopping before. I was unsure at first, but then I went back again and looked through it carefully before buying it. In fact, he first received the initiation of this practice in his mind, and then, under the instructions of the system, he found time to go to the bookstore to find the ancient book that recorded the practice of this secret yoga. He spent dozens of dollars to buy it, and his source was clear. Oh, during this period, I also practiced the secret Tibetan yoga. The meditation method in it is very profound and gave me a lot of inspiration. Do you want me to take this technique back home? Wu Jiantao immediately understood. Well, I think this technique can help master. The master that Yuan Huang mentioned is Wu Dad. He looked up suddenly, with a look of shock on his face. That's right, our Wu family's Xinyiquan is based on the mind. The mental method is to seek within and never rely on external things. This secret practice method is even more advanced in terms of spiritual will. Perhaps it can help master overcome that difficulty. I understand. I'll find time to go back. That's not necessary. I have to go back to Q City tomorrow. Just give me the book and I'll bring it to Master and his wife tomorrow. Yuan Huang said with a smile. Okay, wait a minute. Wu Jiantao got up, went to the study and picked up the old-looking thread-bound book from the bookshelf. On the cover, translation of the 56 postures of secret yoga was written in ancient Chinese characters in a flamboyant manner. At this time, everyone was almost full. Yuan Huang took the old book that recorded the secret cultivation method and flipped through it with great interest. Well, it was exactly the same as what my cousin had said to me before. No, what he said was more understandable. The sentences and words in this book were still relatively difficult to understand, but when he opened it, Yuan Huang could still see Wu Jiangtao's notes, explanations, and understanding of the book. As he read on, he could not help but become addicted to it. Compared with the book that Wu Jiangtao had previously told him, although this book was less easy to understand, it was more objective and comprehensive, and gave him many new insights. It seems that I need to make a copy first. It took a lot of effort for him to take his eyes away from the book, and turned to look at his cousin who was sitting on the sofa in front of him and making tea, and said speechlessly, "Whatever?" Wu Jiangtao was nonchalant, concentrating on the cup of Taiguanian oolong tea in his hand. Looking at his expression, Yuan Huang could clearly feel that he was in a mysterious state of mind all the time, just like himself a few years ago. He couldn't help but chuckle a few times and deliberately said, "Aren't you afraid that I will spread this technique casually? This technique is nothing to ordinary people, but for a martial arts school like ours, this technique is enough to be regarded as the core of the sect." He said this on purpose, wanting to see whether Wu Jiangtao's current state of mind was genuine or just a facade. Let it spread out. Wu Jiangtao was still making tea, and he really didn't seem to care at all.